IPs. We develop and manage World of Darkness Metaplot internally, and we act as a value-added licensing. What is value-added licensing? Business term. What that means is that we develop products with the potential partners much closer than a traditional licensing model. We don't just sign a contract and then hand the IP off to a third party and say, all right, go from there, you're done. We work with them every step of the way to maintain brand consistency and help you tell the stories that we want to tell in a number of ways. So that's how we work as a business. And the question you're probably wondering it now is how we work with you. So, first off, we want you, the fans, to know the most important thing is that you have the ability to have fun with our brands your way. Our goal is to give you lots of different options to choose from, and that there is no right way to have fun. Regardless if it's tabletop, whether it's video games, whether it's NET style parlor LARP, whether it's European collaborative LARP, board games, fiction, ideally some point of being able to consume product like a television series, how you want to interact with World of Darkness, we're going to give you a really big menu and expanding options to choose from. And then let you run wild from there. Which brings us to the next question. What can you expect from us in the future? Well, we also know that as people, consumers and fans want to dig deeper and invest, sometimes more into the hobbies and passions. So with that in mind, we plan to open up expanded avenues for you, not just consumers, but potentially as content creators as well. One of the very first things we're going to do is to revise and update our dark back guidelines for people in groups that want to run fan sites and show their World of Darkness enthusiasm on the internet. This will both be updated to reflect the fact that White Wolf is an international European company, and the way that people participate in these franchises is different and evolved. We hope this will clear up the ambiguity as to what people can and can't do when it comes to republishing our content and things of this nature. So, that's how you run a fan site. Kermit the Frog voice. So the next thing I want to talk about, and I want to be really articulate that this is very, very early stages. There are no set plans whatsoever to how we may make this work. So this is purely conceptual. It's just this is something we want to do. Please keep that in mind, that this is exploratory. User-generated content. One of the things we're going to explore and hopefully implement down the road from you is for the fans to create user-generated content. This is something we intend to do right away, and it may have many complicated nuances to it both logistically and legally, but we're very aware that being part of a participatory brand involves letting you, the fans, have some access to play in our sandbox with reasonable rules and boundaries. We know that people have been doing this sort of thing on the down low for years. I thought I'd share some of the fun ones that I found on the internet. For example, maybe you would like to do a humorous cartoon strip on the left. Maybe you would like to write fan fiction about the further adventures of Cain the First Vampire. Perhaps you would like to create products that we would certainly not, like the incredibly highly in demand clan book Kiasid. Word on the street, there are some people very enthusiastic about the concept of vampires in space.
No! Boo!
It's pretty safe to say that's a product we will never make.
Thank you!
Or you may want to dabble in the world of YouTube videos and streaming opportunities such as Twitch. And ultimately we're aware that the world is changing with programs like Wizards of the Coast Dungeon Guild or the Steam Greenlight process. So they're giving enthusiastic fans opportunities and aspiring game designers to get involved with the products and brands they love at a deeper level. That's something we want to do. We don't know when. We think it's really cool. We're going to explore it. And at some point, hopefully we'll open those doors and you guys are going to have a lot of fun. So, which brings me to the last part of my presentation, is to talk a little bit about the community itself. So, how do all these changes potentially affect the fan clubs that currently exist? Well, first of all, I want you guys to know that our goal is to re-engage you in a more direct and consistent level. For the better part of the last 5 years, there's been really little oversight and not a lot of communication directly from the people who own the franchise, sort of given the circumstances. That is going to change. One of the first things we plan to do is, and we talked about this with the leaders of the fan clubs yesterday, we're going to reevaluate and revise the current camera umbrella license for all existing fan clubs. We don't feel it should be the burden of any one group to be a licensing administrator to the others. We'd really like to thank Mindset Society for taking on that responsibility for the last few years. But starting at some point next year, we're going to revise that license, and then going forward, everyone will have licenses with us directly. So, we want to give all the fan clubs equal opportunity to spend your time making your experience awesome and less time about doing bureaucratic red tape. That, and we want to have relationships with everyone equally, and expect that in 2017. The next topic I want to talk about is, briefly, is sort of the overall health of the community itself. As you can see, we currently have 6 LARP organizations, not counting international affiliates, a tabletop group who, while not technically a fan club, we really love them anyway. Reggie and crew, they're great guys. So we've really come a long way in the last few years. I know we functionally have 6 clubs now, but there was a time not too long ago, about 6 years ago, that we really had 2 fan clubs. This is the little one with 2, and they really hated each other. It was a very conflicted and divided time. It was a very hostile time that people might remember. The clubs didn't get along. They didn't get along with White Wolf. And it was kind of ugly. There was some lawsuits and acquisitions and product changes. We went through a lot of really unpleasant shit. Just did. So it's pretty amazing that given everything that's happened, even with all the conflict and the disappointments of the last 5 years, that we have a thriving community that's really settled their differences. Instead of being mortal enemies at our best, we have a community that act as friendly rivals. And I think that that's really impressive. Despite everything that's happened, you have a community that's managed to stick together, and that's something you guys should all be really proud of. However, there have been changes in the last 5 years, and as we all know, geek culture itself has changed a lot. It's grown exponentially in a previously unheard of rate. We now live in an era where things that we all were collectively shunned for growing up are now exceptionally mainstream. I never thought I'd live in an era where the name Tony Stark is talked about more than Michael Jordan. It's true. Yeah, we won! Technically true. The Avengers, for example, are often more discussed around the dinner table than Monday Night Football. But yes, this is the world we live in now. However, the reality is, whenever, like any other society, whenever there are massive changes, when there are massive expansions in population, they go through growing pains. And the geek culture in general, the world has gone through a lot of them. And right now, it looks a lot like this. Yes, this is actually a real picture of Chewbacca fighting Mr. Invisible, fighting Catwoman, fighting Waldo, fighting Freddy Krueger on Hollywood Boulevard. And they all went to jail.
It's Waldo.
It is Waldo. You found him in jail.
That's true.
Yes, well, the picture is funny. The sad reality is that pretty much what geek culture has descended into, it's what geek culture has descended into. So instead of taking a collective victory lap and high-fiving each other and celebrating our collective successes for our once shunned hobbies, geek culture has instead descended into a never-ending series of ugly clashes that seem to have a new topic that people fight about each and every week. And while it's normal for fans to have passionate opinions given the many subjects, it's moved way beyond an era of Star Wars versus Star Trek and simple battle lines and disagreements of the past. And instead has moved into an extremely contentious and often a really ugly time. From the left side you see doxing and death threats. On the right hand you see an unrestrained amount of mob mentality and internet vigilantism. This is the type of toxicity and vitriol that really destroy communities. They destroy friendships and ultimately franchises. The reason I bring this up is because we as a community are not immune to the effects of this phenomenon. And we do not exist in a bubble. And that unless we stick together and reject this type of behavior wholesale, that we as a community who have come so far and have been through so much, we will simply end up trading our old conflicts of the past for the conflicts of today. We've always been a community that enjoy progressive products that often deal with dark and disturbing subject matter. And we do not run from that because the current zeitgeist of the moment says it's bad or makes us uncomfortable. I want to say that we firmly believe that it is up to the individual to determine their own comfort level in terms of depth of graphic and mature content they wish to participate in. That is the very foundation of the concept behind collaborative storytelling. And the truth is there's never any such thing as bad content. There are only bad decisions. If you find yourself in a situation that results in you believing that you need to ban or censor certain types of content, then the truth of the matter is you are treating a symptom of a problem, not the problem itself. In short, banning horrific and mature content doesn't save anything. Banning bad and abusive players does.